everybody, big news. I just wanted to say that I now have a Patreon. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Sam. I'm a musician from Erie, Pennsylvania, and I'm a member of the band First to 11. I've been putting covers of songs on YouTube with First to 11 since I was 16. It's my full-time job, and we're about to hit 2 million subscribers. I decided this because I've been getting messages from people lately asking me about how I do my job as it relates to music content creation. And the more I think about it, the more I realize that there's only really a few things that I know how to do that give me the ability to do what I do. I know how to play guitar, I know how to record music, and I know how to edit videos. And I want to be able to pass on these skills to you guys. So right now I offer 2 courses, how to use Logic Pro for beginners and how to play guitar for beginners. I'm also trying to start film a how to use a camera and how to use Final Cut for beginners course right now. But until those are up, I wanted to give you guys access to what's already available. I also have my unreleased original music on there because I don't really know what to do with it right now. The whole Patreon only has one tier, it's just $1, or you can buy all of these courses and collections for like $10. But if you just want to pay $1 a month or $12 a year to have access to all of it, that's all I'm going to charge. I'm just going to keep it that way. I decided to put this stuff on Patreon, one, because I kind of want to keep the personal stuff here on YouTube, and I only want to make Patreon $1 because since I don't really plan on being super consistent on there, but just rather uploading bulk content when I finish a course for something, I want to just make it as accessible as possible. But that's enough of me talking. I'm now going to give you guys a little sneak peek of what you can expect from my Patreon, a little sampler of my Logic Pro course, a little sampler of my beginner guitar course, and also a little sampler of some unreleased music. Thank you guys for all of your support here on YouTube. I am super excited to just continue to grow and give you more kind of personalized, consistent content. The link is in my bio for the Patreon if you want to support, or if you just want to learn a little bit more about how I actually do my job. Hope you enjoy. Welcome to Monochrome Studios, guitar in black and white. In today's lesson, we'll be teaching you how to play 8 full songs on the guitar within 15 minutes. And learning how to hold your pick correctly is step 1 of 5. Proper pick holding is crucial for producing a clean and clear tone while playing the guitar. A good pick grip allows for precise control, speed, and accuracy when strumming or picking individual strings. If you're right-handed and own a right-handed guitar like this one, which will sit on your right leg, then you hold your pick with your right hand. And if you're left-handed and own a left-handed guitar like this one that sits on my left leg, then you'll hold your pick with your left hand. Place the pick between your thumb and your index finger. Your fingers should make a 90-degree angle. A good way to know if you're holding your pick correctly is if your thumb perfectly covers the rounded part of your pick. The tip of the pick should extend slightly beyond your thumb and index finger. This is the part of the pick you'll use to strike the strings. Make sure your grip is firm enough to control the pick, but relaxed enough to allow for some flexibility. Too much tension in your hand can hurt your playing. Now on to step 2. We're going to focus on where to position your picking hand. Your guitar has 2 parts that are going to help you position your picking hand, the bridge and your pickups. The pickups are these magnetic devices under the strings, and the bridge is this metal piece right here, where your strings begin. We want to take the side of our hand and line it up in the direction of the bridge. Your hand is basically going to hover over it, so to be clear, your hand should in no way actually be touching the bridge. From here, your hand and pick flop down onto your strings like this. If you own a guitar that has 2 pickups like this one, then that means your pick should fall in between the pickups. If you own a guitar that has 3 pickups like this, that means your pick should fall right in line with the middle one. Lastly, your arm should be at about a 45-degree angle with the floor. Not too high and not too level. Let's pick our thickest string on the guitar 8 times in a row. We want to think about picking downward towards the floor, not outwards. Each time you hit your string, your pick should end up resting on the next string. So here we go. Step 3 is to learn our frets. Fretting is how we produce different pitches on the guitar. So let's get started. Fretting is the act of pressing a string down onto a specific fret to change its pitch. The guitar's frets are these metal strips running perpendicular to the strings on the neck. Our open string is considered fret 0, and if I were to place my finger right here and pluck my string, this would be fret number 1. Then this would be fret number 2. We have these fret markers all around the guitar to make sure that we can always find our frets quickly. The first one happens on fret 3, then fret 5, then fret 7, then 9, and the one with 2 dots is the 12th fret. For the purposes of today's video, we're only going to be using our index finger to fret notes. Let's say we want to fret the first fret on our thickest string. If you make the OK sign with your thumb and index finger, you'll basically end up pinching the neck of your guitar. This will give us a great sound. It's going to help to make sure that we're curving our index finger and using the tips of our finger. And maybe most importantly, using our thumb to stabilize the neck. If you hear this sound, it probably means that you're either not pressing down hard enough, or your finger might be flat, or you might not be placing your finger close enough to the fret. The best piece of advice I can give you is to relax your hand and curve your finger. Let's play the first fret 4 times in a row, then the second fret 4 times in a row, then the third fret 4 times in a row, and finally the 4th fret 4 times in a row. Step 4 is to learn the guitar strings and the chromatic scale. So let's begin. The guitar has 6 strings, each with different names and pitch. Starting from the thickest string and moving towards the thinnest string, the letter names go E, A, D, G, B, E. A reliable acronym that we use to memorize this goes Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. One important distinction to make is that since we have 2 strings with the letter E, we refer to the thick string as big E and our thinnest string as little e. Next, we're going to learn our first scale, the chromatic scale. A scale, if you're unfamiliar, it's just a grouping of notes. Think about it like how a family is just made up of a certain group of people. The chromatic scale is the sequence of all 12 notes in Western music played one after another. So in other words, once you know this scale, you will know every single note in all of music. If you look on your screen, you'll see a diagram of the chromatic scale. You'll notice that some of the colored notes are given the name natural notes, and some are given the note names accidental notes. Natural notes are the notes that just sound like normal alphabetical letters, like A, B, or C. In music, we only have 7 natural notes, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And then it just repeats, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. If you hear someone say a note like G and not G sharp or G flat, it's assumed that they mean natural. So you don't have to say the word natural every time if you don't want to. You'll notice that the other kinds of notes we have, the accidental notes, are divided into 2 kinds, sharps and flats. The sharp sign looks like the hashtag sign, and the flat sign looks like a lowercase b. So, for example, this note right here would be F sharp, and this note right here would be B flat. Accidental notes just sit in between natural notes. The only thing that we have to get used to with accidentals is that every accidental note has 2 names. You can kind of think of it like how my name is Sam, but some people might call me Samuel, and they're still talking about the exact same person, just using 2 different names. So this note right here could be called A sharp, or it could be called B flat. They're both correct. This note right here could be called C sharp, or it could be called D flat. They're both correct. There are only 2 times where we don't have an accidental come between 2 natural notes, from B to C and E to F. So there's no such thing as a B sharp or a C flat, and there's no such thing as an E sharp or an F flat. This might sound like a lot of rules, but we're going to play through all of our notes on the big E string and the A string together and name every single note in the chromatic scale. Every time we move up by a fret, we move to the right by 1 spot in our chromatic scale. So let's get started with the big E string. So we start with our open E string, or fret 0. Then we're going to go to the first fret, which is the note F. Then we have F sharp, or G flat. Then we have G. Then we have G sharp, or A flat. Then we have A. Then A sharp, or B flat. Then B. Then C. Then C sharp, or D flat. Then D. Then D sharp or E flat, and back to E. Let's try the same thing now on the A string. So our open A string, then we're going to go to A sharp or B flat, then B, then C, then C sharp or D flat, then D, then D sharp or E flat, then E, then F, then F sharp or G flat, then G, then G sharp or A flat, and A. All right, everyone, last step, and we saved the easiest one for last. Can you count to the number 4? Then you're done. In music, we only count to 4, then we repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. So now we're ready to learn the song Hey Soul Sister by Train. The notes in order are E, B, C sharp, and A. E should be pretty easy to find because we have an open E string. So let's pluck our open E string together. Now we have to find the note B. B is pretty close to A in the alphabet, so I bet if we start with our open A string and climb up our chromatic scale, we should be able to find the note B. So here's our open A string, then if we climb up by 1 fret, we get the note A sharp or B flat, and if we climb up one more, we find the note B. So it looks like it's the 2nd fret on the A string. Next, we have the note C sharp. Well, since C is pretty close to B in the alphabet, I bet C sharp can't be that far away from B. So this B, which we just found as the 2nd fret on the A string, we're going to start there and then climb up until we hit C sharp. So here's B, which we just found. If we keep going, we're going to find C and then C sharp. The last one that we have to find is A. That should sound pretty familiar because A is one of our open strings. So altogether, we have E, one of our open strings. Then we have B, which is the 2nd fret on our A string. Then we have C sharp, which is the 4th fret on our A string. And lastly, we have the open A string. Whenever we count to 4, we're going to play each of these notes on beat 1. So that means it would look a little bit something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's it. Now you have the ability to play Hey Soul Sister by Train, but you also have the ability to play any of these songs on your screen, just from what you've learned in the last 15 minutes. All you have to do is find all 4 notes on your guitar, then pluck each of them on beat 1, just like we did in Hey Soul Sister. We'll put up all of the notes to each of these songs on your screen in just a moment. But first, congratulations! You've just completed our crash course in beginner guitar and have taken your first steps towards becoming a guitarist. We hope that you've enjoyed this sneak peek into the world of playing guitar and have gained some valuable knowledge and skills. Hello and welcome to episode 3 of How to Learn Logic Pro if you're ADHD and don't want to waste any time and only need to know the absolute essentials. My name is Sam. Today we're going to talk about how do you actually record with the microphone or an instrument like a guitar or a bass or a piano. Let's start with how do you actually plug it in. So remember in the first episode I talked about what cables you were going to need. If we're recording a microphone like this, we're going to need an XLR cable. And the connection is pretty straightforward. One goes into the end of the microphone and one goes into the end of your audio interface. Some interfaces might have a little switch on them that say, do you want to switch this from a mic input to a line input to an instrument input, and we're just going to follow their exact instructions. So if you're plugging in a microphone, switch it to mic, or if you're plugging in a guitar, switch it to instrument. And speaking of instruments, let's say you have this guitar right here. What you're going to want to do is take your instrument cable that we talked about in episode 1 and plug it from one end of your instrument into the other end of your interface. It does not matter which end goes into which for the instrument cable. You might see a little button right here that says 48V. That's for phantom power. That just is required for certain microphones, like condenser microphones, that need extra power supplying them in order to get a healthy signal. If you're not sure if your microphone requires phantom power, just Google it. No instruments, however, should ever require phantom power. The last step is to set the gain. These knobs right here tell you how much gain you're letting into your interface. Gain is kind of like the amount of signal that you let in, and volume is the amount of signal that you let out. If your gain is set too high, you are going to get a very gross, clipping, distorting sounded signal, and that is not what we want. So the way that we make sure that doesn't happen is we sing or play, depending on what you're checking, loudly at the highest dynamic that you're going to be using it for your song, and we adjust to that. Interfaces like the 2i2 have these little color indicators that tell you how loud you are. You want to be sticking to the green, maybe into the yellow, which is what we consider to be soft clipping, but never into the red, which is what we call hard clipping. Allow me to demonstrate. First with the microphone, next with the guitar.
Check, hey, 1, 2, check, check, hey, 1, 2, check, check. Hey, hey, check, check, 1, 2, hey, check, check, 1, 2, check. Hey, hey, check, check, 1, 2, check, check.
Now that the gain is set, we are all good to record. You should already have an audio track up from the previous lesson, but just in case you don't, hit this plus button right here and create a new audio track. When you create the audio track, make sure that the input number is set to whatever input you're using on your interface. For example, this interface only has 2 inputs, and if I'm using number 1, then I have to set the input to input 1. You can hit K to turn on and off your metronome before you start recording, and then you click this R on the track to make sure that you are now armed to record. The key command to actually start recording is the key R. Let's give it a shot and see if it's working.
Just dance, gonna be okay. Do-do-do, just dance with that record, babe. Do-do-do.
Sounds pretty good. So just remember that this M right here is to mute the signal, the S right there is to solo the signal, meaning you can hear it all by itself without anything else playing, and that I right there is for input monitoring. Input monitoring is so that while you record, you can hear what your signal sounds like processed. We haven't even really talked about processing signals yet, so I don't think it's too important to put on input monitoring, and honestly, I don't personally use it all that much, but you're more than welcome to play around with it. It's not going to mess anything up if you have it on. The nice thing about Logic is that most of your basic key commands that you use in other programs apply here too. If you want to chop off the tail end of your recording you just made, you hit Command T. If you want to copy that recording, you hit Command C. If you want to paste it, you hit Command V. If you want to cut it, it's Command X. If you want to repeat it over and over, you can hit Command R, or you can drag your mouse over the top right corner and loop it like this. Command Z will undo anything that you've just done. The delete key, like anything else, will just delete what you've just done. And finally, Logic has this thing called comping, which just means that if you want to take multiple stabs at something and not have to keep deleting and then re-recording, you can go back to the beginning of the region, hit record, and actually record over your previous take like this. Then when you're done, you can drop down this menu and you can splice in each individual good part of the take that you just did. I don't want to run over 5 minutes, but as we precipice the over halfway point of this course, I want to cue you in on something on the left-hand side of your screen. Logic has tons of great built-in sounds or stock sounds, and I would highly recommend exploring them. For example, if you wanted to add a crunchy guitar tone to something you just recorded, all you have to do is go to left-hand side, find that category, and then double-click on it. And that's all we have time for today. I will catch you guys in episode 4.
Take me back to your place, but don't fucking try that again, 'cause I'm not anybody's masculine man. Don't tell your friends about the songs that I sing, 'cause I know you don't give a fuck. The Ruby Stone screaming just go home, screaming just go home, screaming just go home, 'cause I don't wanna know who you sleep alone. friends don't know the things that you do, baby. I say your mother's got a beautiful name, reminds me of someone I know. She wonders if it's hard to deal with the fame, as if I have one fucking clue. Cause I don't wanna know who you sleep with. So sick of always talking to me. Confide in my Holy Ghost, cause I'm letting go. Like a moth drawn to the light, you want me in my beautiful mind, want me when I won't put up a fight. Cause I